Good morning, everyone. I want to today.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Henry.
Bluetooth mode.
Right, please give me a 30 seconds. Right. Oh, okay. Right, now listen. um, and our first term syllabus, right? And we discuss all lesson in the first term. The first lesson becomes a perimeter to the LCM of the algebraic expressions. There are 11 lessons, right? Api okkoma discuss karala iwarai. Right? As well as uh, today we are going to discuss the paper, and this is your first experience with 5 hour paper, right? 5 hour paper එකක් එක දින පළවෙනි experience එක ගන්න යන්නේ, right? And as well as there is a two parts. The first paper becomes as a 2 hour paper. The 2 hour paper, now listen, and this one's a 2 hour paper, paper number 1, and this is a 2 hour. Right? The first one is a 2 hour paper. There are two parts, part A and the part B. There are two parts, part A and the part B, right? Part A and part B, right? And part A, there are 25 small questions, right? You have to write the all answers, right? You have to find the answers and all questions. For all questions, there are 25 questions, right? There are 25 quiz, and each question 2 marks. Therefore, totally 50 marks, 50%. On a seat of 50 score කරලා ඉවරයි, right? 50% for the part A. As well as a part B, there are 5 structural questions, like fractions, area, perimeter, Venn diagrams, pie charts, things, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There are 5 questions. Each question 10 marks. එක ප්‍රශ්නයකට ලකුණු 10 ගානේ හම්බ වෙනවා. Therefore, the totally it becomes as also 50 marks, 50%. And this is a way how it becomes as 100% for a first paper. මෙන්න පළවෙනි ලකුණු 100 හම්බ වෙන paper එකේ විදිය. There are 2 hour paper. There are 25 questions in the part A, and there are structural questions. There are 5 structural questions at the part B. And this is the 2 hour paper. Make a 2 hour paper, right? And මේක දිහා තමයි අපි දැන් discuss කරන්න යන්නේ, right? When we becomes as a 3 hour paper, I'm going to discuss the 3 hour paper structure එක මම කතා කරන්න, right? Today we are going to discuss 2 hour paper, right? And the second paper becomes as a 3 hour paper, totally 200 marks and totally 5 hours, right? Now we are going to discuss this paper. May paper එක අපි discuss කරන්න යන්නේ පුතේ, right? Now listen. First question. Now look at this. Answer all the questions on this paper itself, right? Many instructions. What are the instructions? What are the instructions? You have to write the all answers in this paper, on this paper itself, right? Second one, each question in part A carries 2 marks. Part A, how many? 25 questions, 2 marks, carries 2 marks. and each question in part B carries 10 marks. Menna වැඩි. This is a part B. Carries 10 marks, and the first one 25 questions. Each question carries 2 marks. That totally 100%. Menna වැඩි. First question. අපි first question මම චුට්ටක් ලොකු කරන්නම්. Right. And this is the first question. And you know, this lesson is relevant to the square roots. First approximation and the division method. First approximation and the division method. Right. If 3.4 into the 3.4 becomes as 11.56. Now listen. And you know 3.4 into the 3.4 means 3.4 to the power of 2. And this one should be equals to the 11.56. And this one becomes as 11.56. 11.56. And 3.5 into 3.5, and you know that 3.5 multiplied by 3.5, what is the meaning of that? And this is a 3.5 to the power of 2. It becomes as a 12.25. 12.25. This is the first detail, and this is the second detail. And find the value of the square root of 12. And you know this is the first approximation, right? First approximation. What is the method? You have to get the values as a less than 12 and the greater than 12. And the first one becomes as less than 12. It becomes 11.56. And this is 11.56. Is less than the 12, and the greater than 12 becomes as a 12.25. 12.25. And we know the square roots of that, because why? 3.4 to the power of 2 is 11.56. Therefore square root of 11.56 becomes as 3.4, right? And then we are going to find the which one is approximately equals to the 12. කොයි කෙනාද 12 වලට ළඟම, right? What is the answer? 11.56 or 12.25? Which one?
12.25.
Very good, Jinu, right? 12.25. Now listen, 12.25 exceeds 12, but it's nearest to 12. It's approximately equals to 12 because difference between these two numbers becomes as a 0.25. 0.25. And look at the difference between the 11.56 and the 12. 11.56 to 12 becomes as a 0.44. And you know, and this is the greatest part, and this is the smallest part. Therefore, we can write square root of 12 approximately equals, and you know this symbol, approximately equals to the 12.25. 3.5. Then answer becomes 3.5. And this is the answer for the first question, right? And I'm going to explain in the deeply because this is our first experience, right? Enisa second paper එකේ අපි ටිකක් ඉක්මනට යන්න. හැබැයි first එක මම පොඩ්ඩක් හිමීට යන්න, right? And this is the way how to find the answer for the first one, right? Note down, find the answer for the first one. Don't write the questions, right? I already upload this paper into the LMS system, then you can download it, right? Make a download kind of LMS system, make a not the paper section. This one's including the tudes and book section. Tudes and book section, okay? Right. Second one, expand and simplify. Expand and simplify, and you know how to expand these brackets, right? Hurry up. Hadamu taggala hamomu. Expand and simplify. X minus 5, x plus 2. In grade 10, you have to know about the grade 9 also. And there are so many theory parts in the grade 9, including the 2-hour paper as well as a 3-hour paper, right? Therefore, grade 9 is very important, right? X minus 5, x plus 2, and you know how to expand these like brackets, right? First term becomes as a x, therefore x into x plus 2 as well as minus 5 to the x plus 5, x plus 2. And you know how to expand like this, right? And x into x becomes x to the power of 2. It's not 2x, sorry. X into x becomes as x squared, and x into plus 2 becomes as a plus 2x, and minus into plus becomes minus 5x, minus 5 into plus 2 becomes minus 10. Now you know the middle terms becomes as a synonyms, we call as a like terms, plus 2x and the minus 5x, different signs we are going to subtract, then 2x subtract from the 5x becomes as a 3x, and it should be a minus because the greatest one should be a minus, right? Then x squared minus 3x minus 10, and this is the final answer for the second one, right? This is the final answer for the second one. Okay. Now third one, write the set P dash with elements. And you know P dash, that's the complement of the P, is not including elements to the P, right? Except P, you have to write as elements, other elements, right? And look at this. P natu ituru tika kiyamu, right? Look at the circle. P kina circle එක බලන්න. There's a P. There are only 1, 6, 5, 2, and 4. Except 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now what is the answer? Therefore, answer becomes yes. Then P dash, you had to write as a within curly brackets, right? 3, 7, and 8. 3, 7, and 8. Right? The ළමයට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා සමහරවිට මෙහෙම. So 2 and 4 including the Q set Q no. Right? 2 and 4. එතකොට ඒක ලියන්නේ නැද්ද? No, because why? It's including the P sets. No? Right? That's the intersection of the P and Q. It becomes as a 2 and 4. And 2 and 4 is including the set P. Therefore, you have to write as a P dash like this. Complement of P, it becomes as a 3, 7, and 10. 3, 7, and 10. And this is the answer for the third one. Right? Tell me the answer for the Q dash. Q dash, what is the answer?
1, 6, 5, 7, 8.
Very
7,
good.
8.
Very good, very good. 1, 6, 5, and 7, and 8. There are 5 elements, right? We accept Q. Q නැතුව ඉතුරු ටික ලියන්න ඕන. නියමයි. Fourth question, find the value for x. Right. Hurry up. Find angles. Geometric lessons ටික හරි වැදගත්. There are two parallel lines, and you know the parallel lines මේක grade 9 වල තියෙන්නේ, right? Corresponding angles, alternate angles, vertical opposite angles, aligned angles, right? Here's x. Here is 70 degrees. Right. How to find the answer? Now look at this. There are so many methods, right? Look at this. And you know, here's a 70. We are looking for the numerical values always, right? Here's a 70. Therefore, there is also 70 because vertically opposite. Vertically opposite. And here's a 70 and there is also 70. 70 and 70 vertically opposite. And look at the symbol C. And you know, the symbol C becomes as a here's a 70 and here's a x, and you know if there are two parallel lines and symbol C we call as allied angles, then allied angles are supplementary, then x plus 70 becomes as 180 degrees. Therefore x is equals to the 180 minus 70, it becomes as 110 degrees. 110 degrees. 110 degrees. Right? Some students මේක හදනවා මේ විදිහට. සමහර ළමයි, right? දෙකද? Symbol Z. එයාලා ගන්නවා Z. Symbol C represent the alternate segments and here is X. Therefore, look at the symbol C like this. Right? There are two angles should be equals. Therefore, here is also X. Right? And this is a straight line. And you know the sum of the straight line becomes as 180 degrees. Therefore, answer becomes x plus 70 equals 180. Then x becomes 110. එහෙම හදන්නත් පුළුවන්. Right? Question number 5. The number of the coconuts plucked from 10 coconut trees of Mr. Pereira's home garden is given below. එන්න Mr. Pereira පොල් වත්තේ පොල් ටික. Right? If the mode of the distribution is 13, find the value of the x. Now tell me, how to find the mode? What is the meaning of the mode? How to find mode?
The most common number.
Yeah, most common number we call as a most occurring number. නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ වැඩිපුරම repeat වෙන number එක තමයි 13 කියලා කියන්නේ. As a 13. Now look at the details. 5, 7, 8, 10, right? 5, 7, 8, 10, 10, 13, 13, and x 14 and 17, right? The mod is equals to the 13. Therefore, most occurring number should be a 13, right? Now listen, there are two 10s and there are two 13s. Is equals, right? Then mod එක දෙකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒව තියෙනවා, right? Plurals තියෙනවා. But in this case, mod is a 13. Therefore, 13 is the most occurring number. Then x should be a 13. X 13 උනොත් තමයි mod එක 13 වෙන්නේ. Now understood? ඒක ලේසි දෙයක්. බෙරුණි දුව තේරුණාද? Yeah. Manisha? Hello, Manisha? Okay, right. Next question. Question number 6. A water bottle which was bought for 400 rupees is sold for 500 rupees. 400ට අරගෙන 500ට විකුණනවා, right? Find the profit percentage, right? Find the profit percentage. And you know how to find the profit percentage. You had to write as a fraction with a buying price. Therefore, what is the profit? 500 is selling price, therefore buying price is a 400. Then you can find the profit. Profit should be equals to the 500 minus 400. Then profit is equals to the 100 rupees. And how to find the profit percentage? You have to write as a fraction 100 out of 400. 100 එකක් therefore 100 100 out of 400, then multiply by the 100%. And you know 0 0 0 0, 100 divided by 4 becomes as a 25%. See it which is right? 25%, right? Note down 25%. Question number 7. AOB is a straight line and find the value of the COD. Right, the middle one becomes as a 25 degrees. Now find the answer. $65. AOB is a straight line. This is a straight line, and all the middle one, and this one becomes as a 90 degrees, and this one's a 25. Because you know, if we have a 90 degrees here, and the next one becomes also 90, because 90 and 90 becomes 180. And here is a 25 degrees. Then find the angle for the COD here. You have to find the answer for here. And you know COD plus BOC. Therefore, you can write as a angle COD plus 25. It should be equal to the 90 degrees. The COD becomes as a 90 minus 25. It should be a 65 degrees. 65 degrees. 65 degrees. Question number 8. The arc length of a given sector is a 44 cm. Arc length of a given sector is a 44 cm. 44 cm. Find the radius of it. Now you can find the radius of it. Hurry up. You have to use the formulas. Then substitute. Then find the answer. and sector becomes as a 90 degrees. 28. Very good, Beruri. Balamu. The arc length is a 44. Therefore, arc length is this one. This one is a 44. And you know the degrees of the 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here. And radius we don't know. Radius we don't know. And you know the formula. What is the formula? Arc length is equal to the 2 pi r into theta over 360. And this one should be equal to the 44. 2 multiplied by 22 over 7 multiply by r. We don't know the value for the r. Multiply by the 1 over 4. And you know 90 degrees out of 360. It becomes as a 90 degrees. Equals to the 44. Right. Down one becomes as a up one and the up one becomes as a down one. That's the rule. No? Then r should be equal to the 44. Down one becomes as up. 7 and 4 becomes as up. 7 and 4. And up one becomes a 2 and 22. It becomes as a denominator. Now you know 2 into 22 becomes as a 44. And this 44 we can simplify with 44. Now answer becomes 7 times 4, 28 centimeters. 28 centimeters. 28 centimeters. Yeah. I'm okay. දැන් පේනවද? 28 centimeters. ජිනෝ පුතා මේක තේරෙනවද? මනීෂා? Yeah. Simplify and keep the answer with positive indices. And you know the rules of the indices in the grade 9, right? Negative indices, positive indices, power of power, same bases, division, multiplication, and the zero index. There are so many theorems in the grade 9, right? This one's relevant to the grade 9. Right? Now listen. X to the power of 3, x to the power of 3 divide by x to the power of 5. In these cases, what is the meaning of this? Like this, no? And you know, we have to subtract. We have to subtract, right? We have to subtract from the numerator. Then answer becomes x to the power of 3 minus 5. Then answer is x to the power of minus 2. And you know negative indices you can write as a positive indices. අපි මේවා දානවා යටට නේද? Therefore 1 over x to the power of 2. This is the answer. Because simplify and keep the answer with the positive indices. But මෙච්චර දුකක් විඳින්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මේ බලන්නකො වැඩි. Look at this. You have to practice like this. Who is the greatest one? Greatest one is a 5. Greatest one is a 5. Therefore, you need to subtract 3 from 5. එහෙනම් උඩ ඉන්න 3 දෙනාම අල්ලලා අයින් කරන්න. Then answer becomes 1. මුකුත් නැහැනේ. And x to the power of 3 becomes as a minus 3. එහෙනම් මේකෙන් අයින් වෙලා දාමු. උත්තරයක් එනවා x to the power of 2. කෙලින්ම මේ උත්තරේ එනවනේ. මෙච්චර කටු ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Understood? Right. Note down. Question number 10. This one's relevant to the factorizing And there are three types of the factors. The first one becomes as a common factors, trinomial quadratic expressions, and the difference between two scales. We did it, right? And now you can find the answers for this one. ඉක්මනට හොයමු උත්තරේ. Very good, Manisha. Order is correct. There are no common factors. And the first one into the last one, it becomes as a minus 6x squared. And the theorem part. It becomes as a negative. The difference between two numbers becomes as a minus 5. May numbers deke venus minus 5 end on because why? It's a negative. And look at the middle one. Middle one is a negative. Therefore, greatest one should be a negative and other one becomes as a positive because the difference signs becomes as a negative and right? And it's a difference between two numbers. Now tell me 6 and the x. Therefore, minus 6x and plus 1x. And this is a suitable couple for a middle one. Now you can write x to the power of 2 minus 6x plus 1x minus 6. And the common factor of the first two terms becomes x and x minus 6. Keep the space and you repeat this bracket, same bracket. And x is here and the plus 1 is a missing 1. Now x minus 6 and the x plus 1. And this is the answer for a 10th question. Right? Is that correct? හැමෝගේ හරිද උත්තරේ? බලමු. Answers දාන්න පුතේ. අදන් දාපුවම. X plus 1 minus 6. Very good. Minus 6 plus 1. Very good. Very good. Very good. Nearby. And 11th one. In the parallelogram ABCD, find the length of the BC. Find the length of the BC. How to find the area of the parallelogram? It's like a base into height, right? This is a parallelogram, and and this is altitude. It becomes as a 5 cm, and the base becomes as a 14 cm. And BC we don't know, but altitude becomes as a 7 cm. And now we can write as equation using the BC equation එකක් ලියන්න පුළුවන් BC use කරලා, and this becomes as a base and the perpendicular height becomes as a 7. BC into 7 should be equal to the DC into a 5. එහෙනම් මම දාන උත්තරය පුතේ BC multiply by the 7 should be equal to the 14 into the 5. Because why? This is the area of the parallelogram, and this is a way how to find the area of the parallelogram for another way. How we can keyword parallelogram make area කොහෙන්ද තව විදියක්. This was very easy, right? Therefore, how to find the BC? You have to divide by the 7. Divide by 7. Now 7 times 1, 7 times 2. Now BC becomes as a 10 cm. because BC is a length. BC වලට උත්තරයක් එන්නේ 10යි කියන්නේ. Right? There are two ways how to find the area, but that should be equals because area of the same parallelogram. BC DC into the 5 or BC into the 7. Both are equals. Understood? අපට තේරුණා නේද මේක? නියමයි. Right? Triangles වලටත් මේකම apply කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Triangles වලටත් දෙන්න පුළුවන් ගානක්. Like මෙහෙම දෙන්න පුළුවන් ගානක්. Half into base into height, I do know. This one is a height and this one's a base. And this one's a height and this one's a base. එහෙම දෙන්නත් පුළුවන් අපිට. ඔව් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Right. 12th one LCM, we did that last lesson. මතක last lesson එක හදවතක් ගාලා මාරම ලේසි. 3x squared, xy and 2y squared. Right. මේක ලේසිම ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේද? බලමු වැඩේ. Very good, very good. නියමයි. 3x squared, xy and 2y squared. We discussed about this one. This is not expressions and these are terms. Then we can write 3 into the x squared, x into the y and 2 into the y squared. And you know there are four different terms. 2 is a different one, 3 is another one, x is another one, y is another one. තව එකක්. ජාති හතරයි. 2 terms, 3 terms, x terms, y terms. Therefore, 2 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 1, x to the power of 2 is the greatest one, and the highest index is of 2. Now, 2 times 3 becomes 6, x squared, and the y squared, and this is LCM. This is LCM. This is LCM. We discussed about the last lesson. Very good, Benori, නියමයි. ජිනුප්ට තේරුණාද පුතා මේක? තේරුණා. Good. Find the value of the x, and this one's relevant to the triangles 1 and triangles 2. Look at that. නිතරම පුතේ දුන්නට පස්සේ picture එකක්, figure එකක් එක බලන්න details. Right? Investigation. All evidence. නේ අපි කියන සාක්ෂි හැම එකක්ම අධීක්ෂණය කරන්න ඕන. Look at this. AB and AC equals. දැන් මතක් කරනවා ඩෝංගල් වලට isosceles triangles. Isosceles theorem එක මතක් වෙනවා. Right? If two sides are equal, two opposite angles are equals. එහෙනම් මේ triangle එකේ පුතේ angle B and angle C should be equals. Right? Now hurry up, find the answer for x. අදම උත්තරේ එහෙනම් Niyamai. Right, Benuri? Are you sure? Balon. Now look at this. Opposite
77.
angles. Yeah. It's because of 40 degrees.
77.
Yeah, 70 degrees, right? Balon. Opposite angles are equals. Therefore, this one should be x. Math x puti. Opposite angles are equals. Now what to do? And you know the sum of the all three angles becomes as 180. Now you can write as a x plus 40 is equal to the 180 degrees. Now x becomes as a 2x equals 180 minus 40. Then 2x equals to the 140. Then you can divide by 2. Then finally x becomes as a 70 degrees. 70 degrees. Benody, they are not do
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Question number 14. The triangle ABC triangle ABC equals 15 cm squared. And find the AD. Find the AD. And you know how to find the area. Half into base into height. Area of the ABC triangle. And you know this is a triangle. And this one we called as a perpendicular height. And that is a 90 degrees. Because why? And look at the details. Look at the details. This one's a right triangle and this one is a parallel to this one. And you know this is a C symbol. Therefore, this one is also 90 degrees. It's අනිවාර්යෙන් 90 වෙනවා. එන අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ තියෙන්නේ කවුද? Perpendicular height. Yes. It should be a perpendicular height. Then you can find the answer for here. Yes. Because why? And you know the AD. Right. Now, this is a base 6 cm. And you know the area becomes as a half into base into height is AD. And this one should be equal to the 15. Yeah, 15 when noting. Now 2 times 1, 2 times 3, 3 times AD becomes 15. Now AD is equal to the 15 divided by 3. It becomes as a 5 cm. Nearby. Now we are in the question number 15. x becomes as a 40 degrees. Near my Manisha. Very good, Jinu. The same answer. මතකද theorem එක? If sine is produced exterior angle and that exterior angle becomes as a sum of the two interior opposite angles in a triangle. That's a theory. ඒක තමයි අපි ගෙනාතු theorem එක නේද? අටේ මතකයි මේක. Right? And this one's 120. Therefore, this 120 should be equal to the sum of these two opposite angles. මෙන්න මේ angles දෙක එකතුවට වෙන්න. Then answer becomes x and 2x. You can write x plus 2x becomes 120. Now 3x equals to the 120. Now finally x becomes as a 40 degrees. 40 degrees. 40 degrees. සමහර ළමයි හොයන්න ඇති ඇතුළ හොයලා. So here's 120, therefore this one becomes as a 60 degrees. 60 plus x plus 2x equals 180 because the triangles interior angles. ඉතින් එච්චර වට ගහන්න එපා. This is a theorem. අපි මේ theorem හැදුවේ use කරන්න. Okay? Question number 16, and this one's relevant to the grade 9 algebraic fractions. Denominators are equals. Therefore, you can simplify the numerator. But carefully, because it is a subtraction with expression. Now listen, මේක පරිස්සම් වෙන්න පුතේ. Look at this. The common denominator is a 7. Therefore, we can write as a 5 minus x plus 2. And this one's wrong. මෙහෙම ලිව්වොත් වැරදි. Because x plus 2 is a represent the algebraic expression. Therefore, you need to write as a bracket. Or you can write as a additive inverse. ළමයට ඕන ලියන්න පුළුවන් මේක additive inverse එකක් විදිහට. How it becomes additive inverse? X becomes as a minus x and the plus 2 becomes as a minus 2. This is the meaning of the additive inverse. තමයි additive inverse කියන එක තේරුම නේද? Right? Now listen. Or in this method, you have to expand the brackets. එහෙනම් උත්තරයක් එනවා පුතේ මට 5 minus 6 minus 2 divide by 7. 5 minus 2 becomes 3 minus x over 7. And this is the answer. This is the answer. Now find the answer for the 17th one. In the triangle PQR, if QR perpendicular PS and QS equal SR. Do you remember these ones? Make කටියට මතකද? අපි note එකක් දැම්මා මේක මතකද? Triangles 1 and 2. Isosceles triangles වලදී. And S is a midpoint of the QR. මතකද මේක?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
මේ බලන්න. QS equals to the SR. And write the case of the congruence of the triangle PQS and the triangle PRS. බලමු. Triangle PQS කියන්නේ කවුද? නාමති. And PSR. Right? And this one's very easy thing. And you know, this angle 90 degrees, therefore this is also 90 degrees here. Angle equals the angle. And this one we known as අපි නමක් දුන්නා මේකට කවුරු කියලාද? Common side. මතකයිනේ. පොදු පාදය කියලා අපි කියනවා එයාට. Common side. Now look at this. There are 4 cases: SSS, SAS, and the AAS, and the RHS. This was not relevant to the SSS. Make SSS වෙන්න බෑනේ පුතේ. SAS. Now look at the SAS. S side included angle. Side දෙක ඇතුලේ included තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? හරි නේන්න. මේ බලන්නකො වැඩි. Side angle side. Included angle. Therefore, what is the congruency? This is a correct one. This is a correct one. AAs when the right angle hypotenuse side when the right hypotenuse are not equals. Therefore, triangle PQR congruent to the triangle PRS. Reason එක තමයි මොකක්ද? SAS condition එක නේද? SAS case. SAS case. And write the case of congruency. Therefore, case is SAS. SAS. Side, 2 sides and included angle. Question number 18. This was inverse proportions. Mandates. මතකයි? අදමු. Eight men need 6 days. 8 men need 6 days. Therefore, man days becomes 48. 48 man days. Find the number of days needed. 12 men. 12 men. Number of days we don't know. Complete the same task. Half of the task, double of the task, twice of the task, same task. Therefore, this one should be a 48. And now you know number of days should be equal to the 48 divided by the 12. Then answer becomes 4 days. Maralesi ready. Do you remember this one? Yes. මෙරොඩි දුව හරි නේද මනීෂා? Okay. Question number 19. Whoa. And you know the formula to find the area of the trapezium? The sum of the two parallel lines multiplied by the half into the sum of the parallel lines into the distance between them. එයා තමයි area එක හොයන formula එක නේද? A, B, C, D. 5 cm. Half into the sum of the parallel lines. What is mean of the sum of the parallel lines? Parallel lines දෙකේ එකතුව පුතේ. AB plus CD multiply by the perpendicular distance. You can call the distance between them 5 cm. Now you can simplify. Half multiply by, you know, AB plus CD becomes as a 40 and multiply by the 5. 2 times 1, 2 times 20. 20 times 5 becomes as a 100 cm squared. 100 cm squared. And these two triangles are congruent. Now find the value of the ACB. That's one's relevant to the corresponding elements. මතකද? අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත එක මොකද්ද? Corresponding elements are equals in congruent triangles. Triangles දෙකක් congruent වෙනවා නම්, if two triangles becomes as a congruent, corresponding elements becomes as equals. එහෙනම් හොයන්න බලන්න ACB කියන angle එකට ගැලපෙන කෙනා කවුද? Right? Now you can find. $70 equal, and that's it. 70 equal 50. ACB. මෙයා ACB. අහන්නේ මෙයාව. Right? And find the value. And this is a congruent. And this one becomes as a PQR. දැන් හොඳට අහගන්න පුතේ වැඩි. Look at this. As 70, 50, 120. Therefore, this one becomes as a 60. Right? Now listen. Now listen. බලන්න වැඩි. Look at this. The finding angle ACB. ACB is in front of the one bar side. මේ එක ඉරි කැල්ලක් ගහපු කෙනාට ඉස්සරහින් ඉන්න කෙනා නේද එයා? ඔව් සර් එයා තමයි. එහෙනම් මෙන්න වැඩි. Therefore, ACB should be equal to the 60 degrees. Then ACB equals to the 60 degrees. මොකද reason එක? Corresponding angles, corresponding elements equals to the corresponding elements. That reason becomes as a congruent angles. වල අපි දන්නවා corresponding angles equals. Corresponding elements equals in the congruent triangles. Right, and this is a simple linear equation. Now you can find the answer for x. Find the answer. Seven minus two times x minus two equals to the what? Firstly, the සමහර ළමයි කරන වැරද්දා. Some students simplify like this. 7 minus 2 becomes 5. ලියනවා 5 කියලා. වැරදිනේ. එතනම වැරදි. Why? You have to expand the brackets. Firstly, you have to expand the brackets. ඉස්සලාම් brackets expand කරනවා. This is a method number 1. මේක කෙනෙක්ට මෙහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ අහගන්න මම methods දෙකකින් හදලා පෙන්නන්නම්. The first method is expanding. 7 minus 2x minus into minus becomes plus 4 equals to the 1. And now simplify the left hand side. 7 and 4 it becomes as 11. 11 minus 2x becomes as 1, and minus 2x equals 1, and plus 11 go to the right hand side and exchange as a minus 11. Now minus 2x equals to minus 11. Now you can divide by the both sides by minus 2. Then finally x becomes as a plus 5. And you know the theory. Negative 1 divided by the negative 1 becomes as a plus. එක method එකක්. හරිනේ. ඊළඟ method එක මෙහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්. 7 minus 2 times x minus 2 equal 1. ළමෙක් මෙයාවම. Because this was a negative, no? මේක දානවා මේ පැත්තට. And plus 1 becomes as a minus 1 on the right hand side. බලමු මොකද වෙන්නේ. Look at this. 7 minus 1 equal, ඔන්න දැන් මේක plus වෙනවා. 2 times x minus 2. Now 7 minus 1 becomes as a 6 equal 2 times x minus 2. Now you can divide by the 2. Then 2 and 2 simplify, and it becomes as a 3. Now 3 equals x minus 2. Minus 2 becomes as a plus 2. Now x becomes as a 5. කොහොම කරන්න පුළුවන් ළමයිට. හරි, තව තියෙනවා ඔයාලා සිම්පල් කරන්න පුළුවන් විදි. නේ. ළමයාගේ නිදහස තියෙනවා හැබැයි හරි මෙතඩ් එකකට, right? This is the math. ඒක තමයි maths වල තියෙන විශේෂත්වය. Thinking parts. මට හිතන විදිය නෙමෙයි ඔයාලට හිතේ. තව ළමයට හිතේ රස වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right. This is the method. Chino, තේරුණාද මේ කරපු දේ? Okay. And the battery and the furniture, right? It's okay. Done. Question number 22, and this was a very important question. පුතේ අනිවාර්යෙන් එනවා ප්‍රශ්නයක්. හරිද? This was very important. constructions lossy මතකයි grade 9 වල ඉගෙන ගත්තා major four losses, right? Around a point, circle, equidistant to 2 points, perpendicular bisector, equidistant to the straight line, parallel line, equidistant to the two straight lines, it becomes as a angle bisector. අපි මේවා paper discussion එකේදී කතා කරා Monday class වල, right? And now find the answer for this one. අද ලස්සනට answer එක. Right. Now I want to find the answer. P and Q are the two trees with the gap 20 meters and 20 meters. P and Q 20 meters. Meter 20ක් දුර තියෙන ගස් දෙකක්. Now there are two points. Points දෙකක් තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ P and Q. Right? And the narrow and raw, which is located to equidistance to P and Q, equidistance to P and Q. P and Q means there are 2 points. What is the answer? Perpendicular bisector. ඒක අපිට ගහලා දීලා මේ. This was done for you. Perpendicular bisector එක දීලා. Right? And diagram. Using the knowledge about the laws, sketch the location of the motorbike such that the distance between the motorbike and P is 20 meters. On the wedding, P and Q, two trees with the gap 20 meters, a narrow road, which is located the equidistance to P and Q in the given diagram. එක පැහැදිලි. P and Q කියලා කියන්නේ කවුද? 2 points දෙකක්. එහෙනම් යනවා කවුද? Perpendicular bisector. Right? Using the knowledge about the logic, sketch the location of a motorbike such that the distance between the motorbike and P is 20 feet. Right? Now P අපි ගමුකෝ 20 centimeters මෙතින් road එක. එහෙනම් එයාට equidistance යන්න ඕනේ. Right? 20 meters. Right? 20 meters. Equidistance to the point is a circle, 2 points perpendicular bisector, a straight line, it becomes as a parallel line. It should be a parallel line. And equidistant to the two straight line becomes as an angle bisector. Now මෙතන එනවා කවුද? Parallel line එක. Right? බලමු වැඩි. Right? Draw කරමු වැඩි කොහොමද එන්නේ කියලා. Right? මට පෙන්නන්න කැම් එකට පොත ඊට පස්සේ පොඩ්ඩක් ඈ. හැමෝම because this was very important question. මේක අනිවාර්යෙන් එනවා. Finish? බලවැඩි. Right, look at this one. So I right, again. Look at this. There are major four losses. හතරයිනේ පුතේ තියෙන්නේ. Look at this. Around a point. අපි කියනවා කොහොමද? 2a. 2a කියන්නේ කවුද? points එකයි. එහෙනම් කවුද වෙන්න ඕනේ? circle එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊළඟදී 2a and b. a and b. කවුද? a and b නම් perpendicular bisector. Like this, right? To the equidistance p and q. Perpendicular bisector. ඒක ඇදලා දීලා අපිට. ඒක දීලා, right? Third one, 2ab. ab is a straight line. එහෙනම් ab is a straight line, therefore parallel line. උඩින් හරි යටින් හරි. ඊළඟ දේ තමයි ab and bc. Common vertex is a b. ab and bc. And that's why should be a angle bisector. මේ හතර තමයි එන්නේ පුතේ. අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ හතර එනවා. ඒක දෙකක්. Now look at this. දැන් අපිට කිව්වා මේකේ p and q is a two trees with the gap 20 meters and narrow roll which is located to equal distance to p and q. p and q මේ දෙකට equal distance තියෙනවා. එහෙනම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මොකක්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ? perpendicular bisector එක වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒක හරි. ඊළඟට කියනවා p and q and the given diagram using the knowledge about the losses sketch the location of a motorbike such that the distance between the පාරක් තියෙනවා කියලා කිව්වනේ. එහෙනම් ඒක කොහෙද තියෙනවා? මේ කොහෙද තියෙන්න ඕනේ? මේක උඩ තියෙනවා. Right? Sketch the location of the motorbike such that the distance between the motorbike and p is 20 meters. 20 meters. එහෙනම් මොකද්ද වෙන්න ඕනේ? එහෙනම් මීටර් 20ක් දුරින් තියෙන ලොකේෂන් එක කාටද? මේ කියන්නේ මේ බලන්න. motorbike and p. p කියන්නේ කවුද? මේදී circle එක. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙන්න ඕනේ? 20 meters radius අරගෙන ගහනවා මම කෙලින්ම කවුද? circle එක. ගහනකොට මේ lines දෙක cross වෙන තැන. මේදී this one or this one. තැන් දෙකක තියෙන්න පුළුවන් පාර. එක්කෝ මෙතන එක්කෝ මෙතන. This one or this one. Hey, here to here, here to here. Both are 20. Understood, everyone? Right. අපිට කිව්වේ p. p වල ඉඳන් කියන්නේ අපි දන්න අනිවාර්යෙන් පළවෙනි එක circle එක. Now this was relevant to the probability. බලමු. The information about the 100 peoples who live in the Kosgama village is given in the following table. When a person is selected randomly from them and find the probability of that person is being a boy. Boy කෙනෙක් වෙන කෙනා. බලමු වැඩේ. Gents, ladies, elders and children. It's like අපි මේකට කියනවා පොඩි කාලේ කරන table නේද? Venn diagram වල අපි කියනවා මේකට පොඩි කාලේ කරනවා. බලමු වැඩේ. Elders and gents, ladies and children. කොල්ලෙක් නේ කියන්නේ. අංකල් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න බෑනේ. නේ. අංකල් නෑ. කොල්ලෙක් වෙන්න. මෙන්න වැඩි. 35. 35 බෑ උතකොට. 40 elders is like a ladies. Right? Gents. මෙන්න ඉන්නවා gents වෙන children ලා වෙන කියන boy. මෙන්න එන උත්තරේ. අනිත් ඒවා බලන්න දෙකුත් නෑනේ. 13. 13 out of අබු. කී දෙනෙක්ද? ඒක හොයන්න වෙනවා. This one becomes as a 25, this one becomes as a 75, the total becomes as a 100, then answer is a 113 out of 100.
The question එකෙම තියෙන
Where the person selected that randomly. Alright. 100 කියන එක අපිට කොලින්ම දීලා තියෙනවා question එකේම පටන් ගත්තොත් the information about the 100 peoples, right? එතකොට එහෙනම් මේක ඇඩ් කරන්න ඕනෙත් නැහැ, තවත් ලේසි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. තවත් ලේසි question එකේම දීලා තියෙනවා, right? ඒක දීලා තිබුණ නැත්නම් මේ විදිහට අපිට ඇඩ් කරලා හොයාගන්න වෙනවා. හරිද? මේක තවත් ලේසි අර කිව්වා වගේ දීලා තියෙනවා, right? About the 100 peoples. Therefore 13 out of 100. Easy. Now we have only 2 questions left. There are 24th one. According to the given figure, find the value of the A and B. Adum බලන්න. A and B. Easy නේද? Using the knowledge about the parallel lines, yes. නියමයි. බලමු. ඔයාලට පේනවා මෙතන ඉස්සෙන් එක. Therefore, A should be equal to the 80. Alternate angles. And look at this. Here is a C. Here is a C. Now, secant aligned angles. Therefore, B plus 110 equals to the 130. And B is equals to the 180 minus 110. Then B equals to the 70 degrees. 70 degrees. Now this is the last question in the part A. Part A के अंतिम प्रश्न है. मारा वाले इस प्रश्न है. Y equals 2x minus 3. Find the gradient. क्या बड़ा पेन है? Find the gradient and find the intercept. Find the gradient and find the intercept. We discussed about this question in our revision paper class. ගැඹුරින්ම කතා කරලා තියෙනවා මොක. Grade 9 part එක we did. The grade grade 10 paper revision class එකේ අපි කතා කරා. Right. In the function y minus 2x equals 3, find the gradient. And you know, we have a y equals mx plus c, and c we call as a intercept, and m we call as a gradient. And up again a gradient. And I'm ready. Firstly, we have to write as a y equals mx plus c. Make the main subject as a y. Now minus 2x go to the other side when y equals plus 2x plus 3. Whoa, then the very kiri kaju. Coefficients of x becomes as a gradient. Main m can call gradient. It should be a 2. And this one's a intercept. We call as a c, and that must be a plus 3. Easy very. Gradient equals 2 and the intercept we call as a 3. හරි පුතේ. ඔන්න අපේ part A එක ඉවරයි. Right? දැන් අහගන්න වැඩි. Now this is a type of the part A. දැන් තේරෙනවද හැමෝටම part A කියන විදිය? පැය 5යි ප්‍රශ්න පත්‍රයේ, and this was a 2-hour paper, and this is a part A. There are 25 questions like this. Got it? හැමෝටම තේරෙනවද ඒක? නියමයි. බෙරුරේ දුව තේරෙනවද paper එකේ විදිය? නියමයි. Manisha? Right. All right. There are 2 marks each question. Therefore there are 50 marks. අඩුම ගානේ 25න් 24ක්වත් හදන්න ඕන. try කරන්න. 25 25ම හදන්න. Right? 25 out of 25 you have to write as a correct answers, then there are automatically 50 marks becomes it. 50 means 25 marks ඇවිල්ලා. Right. Now I am going to discuss the part B. අපි යමු දැන් part B එකට. Write the part B. Write the part B. And you know this type questions. The first one is a fractions. බලමු පළවෙනි උත්තරය හොයමු fraction එකේ පුතේ. right. Time එකදී පළවෙනි එකට උත්තරේ හොයාගන්න. This is a fraction type and we need so many questions in our paper class. මතක ඇති අපේ paper class එකේ මේවා ගොඩාක් හදලා තියෙනවා, right? Every week we discuss about these types. මේ බලමු වැඩි. Nilma who come to the school with a completely filled water bottle and drank 1 out of 6 of it before the interval. Interval ට කලින් 1 over 6 එයා බිව්වා before the interval, right? One over 6 and drank 3 over 5 of the remainder in the interval. මෙතන කියන්නේ පුතේ 3 over 5 of remainders. දැන් මතක ඇති 1 over 6 drank before the interval and 3 out of 5 drank of the remainders. එහෙනම් ඉතුරුනේ කීයද යාට බොන්න? 5 over 6. एक कौन सा आवे? මෙහෙමනේ ආවේ. Look at this one. Here's a 1 over 6. Therefore remainder becomes 6 over 5. හයක් තිබිලා එකක් බිව්වනම් පහන ඉතුරු. පට්ටම සරලයි වැඩි. Right? It's a very simple trick. Right. හැමෝටම තේරෙනවා. Right. Write the amount of the water drank in the interval as a fraction of the total amount of the water. Therefore, answer for a first question, it becomes 3 over 5 multiplied by 5 over 6. 5 and 5 and 3 times 1 and 3 times 2. Now it becomes as a half. භාගයක් බිල වතුර. Second one. Write the remaining water amount as a fraction of total number of water. අදම උත්තරේ. Hurry up. Very good, Benuri. මේකට සුසේ දාන්න පුතේ හැමෝම. Write the remaining water amount as a fraction of the total amount of water. ඉතුරු කීයද? 2 over 6. බලමු. And Benuri and Jinuk, you have to simplify your answer. Your answer is correct, I think, but it's not the simplest way. You have to write as a simplest form. You have to write as a simplest form, okay? Now good. Now good. Now good. Now look at this. Look at this. Before the interval, 1 over 6, and in the interval, 1 over 2. Now you have to find the answer for the second one. The question is, write the remaining water. You have to subtract from the whole one the sum of the before the interval. She drank 1 over 6 before the interval and the 1 over 2 during the interval. In the interval. Now 1 minus common denominator becomes as a 6, and you know that, and this one becomes as a 6 divided by t through 3 times 1 becomes 3, and 1 over 4 over 6. Now you can simplify then answer becomes as a 2/6, but you correct. But you had to write as a simple form. Now this one becomes as a 1/3. This is the answer. Always check the answer, right? Check if that becomes as a simple form or not, right? It's not as a simple form. You have to simplify. අනිවාර්යෙන් කරන්න ඕනේ, right? Third one. If the remaining water amount is 600 milliliters, find the capacity of the water bottle. මේක ලේසි. අදමු. If the remaining water is amount, therefore remaining water becomes 1/3, no? Then you know, then therefore 1/3 becomes as a 600 ml. Then 1/3 is a 600 ml. Therefore, total becomes as a 600 ml multiplied by 3. It becomes as a 1,800 ml. 800 ml. Very good. Right? අපෙන් අහලා නැහැ මේක ලියන එක liters වලින්. Therefore, find the capacity of the water bottle. Find the capacity of the water bottle in liters කියලා හුවනා 1.8 liters because you had to divide by 1000. එහෙම අහලා නැහැ. Question number 4. Find the amount water drank by the Nilma before the interval in milliliters. එක ලේසියිනේ. Water bottle එකේ තිබුණේ 1800 milliliters and she drank 106 of the total bottle. Therefore, you have to simplify. 1/6 of 1800 ml. Then 6 times 1, 6 times 3. Now answer becomes 300 ml. When the interval at කලින් නිල්ම බීලා වතුර 300. 300 milliliters. Right? එතකොට ලකුණු 10ක් හම් වෙනවා පුතේ මේ equation එකට. Okay? 10 out of 10 ගන්න try කරන්න අනිවාර්යෙන්. Fraction is like a අපි ගත්තොත් මේක flow එකක් තියෙනවා. It's like a flow types. එකින් එකට යන්නේ flow එක. ගලාගෙන යාමක් තියෙනවා. Right? ඉතින් flow එක කඩා ගන්න එපා. Right? Understand the question and just write the answers. Right? Now, I'm going to discuss the next part. And you know the second one becomes as a සාමාන්‍යයෙන් පුතේ second one එක එන්නේ මේ විදියට. බලමු. First one is like a fraction. අනිවාර්යෙන් fraction එක එනවා පුතේ. Second one එක තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ අපි අර කියන මොනවද? Fractions කියලා. Fractions. Right. Fractions. Then the second one එක ඊට පස්සේ එනවා area and perimeter. Right. Fractions. Then second one becomes as a area and perimeter. Now listen. Given below is a logo that fixed on the entrance of the certain business place. The shade part is created using a metal sheet and painted in blue color. Right. The shaded part is created using the metal sheet and painted in blue color, and the radius of the sector is made by using the stainless steel pipes. Stainless steel pipes. Now this is a figure, right? the shaded part and use the metal sheet එකක් stainless එක තමයි arc length එක තියෙන්නේ. දැන් බලන්න find the length of the sector, arc length of the sector. හරිම ලේසි වැඩි. ඔයම බලන්න. හරියක්. area and perimeter ඊළඟ ප්‍රශ්නය. හරි වැදගත්. Very good, Benuri. Here's a 90 degrees. Forty cm, 12 cm. Right, that's it. Find the arc length, and you know how to find the arc length. You have to use the formula 2 pi r into the theta over 360, and you know 2 multiplied by the 22 over 7 into the r. Now listen, radius is here to here or here to here. It becomes 35. Therefore, this one is also 35. Radius is උත්තරයක් කරා පුතේ 35 cm. And 2 pi r multiplied by 90 degrees becomes as a 1 over 4. 7 times 1, 7 times 5, and 2 times 1, 2 times 2, again 2 times 1, 2 times 11. Now answer becomes 55 cm. Near mine. Very good. Very good. First part එක දාන්න. අපි අද second one එක. Find the length of the diagonal of the right angle triangle. Diagonal එක හොයන්න තියෙන්නේ. Diagonal කියලා කියන්නේ කවුද පුතේ? Diagonal. Look at this. And you know this one, right? In the Pythagorean theorem. And this was the 35 degrees, sorry, 35 cm. And the whole portion becomes as 40. Therefore, remaining portion. Look at this triangle. My triangle is draw කරලා පෙන්නන්න. Look at this. Therefore, this one becomes as a 12 and this one becomes as a 5. Make a 5. එහෙනම් මෙන්න අපි කියන මේකට hypotenuse කියලා නේද? Now you can find this one using the Pythagoras theorem. Using the Pythagoras theorem. And you know the hypotenuse. ඒ කියන්නේ කොහමද? 12 squared plus 5 squared and square root of it. මම ගන්නකො x කියලා. Therefore, x squared is equal to the 12 squared plus 5 squared. Then x squared becomes as a 144 plus 25 and 169 and apply the square root to the both sides. Finally, x becomes as a 13 cm. Now find the perimeter of the metal sheet in a blue color, painted in blue color. So අපි දන්නවා painted in blue color අපිට කිව්වේ blue color එකකින් තියනවා කියලා. The metal sheet and painted in blue color. මොනවාද? The shaded part. එහෙනම් shaded part එකේ perimeter එක තමයි අපෙන් අහන්නේ. Now find the answer. ලේසියි නේද? dark length එකක් දන්නවනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ. Perimeter. බලමු වැඩි. Third one. පටන් ගමු මුලින්දම x becomes 13 plus arc length becomes as a 55 මතකයි අපිට and 40 and 35 and 12. 8 and 7 becomes as a 15, 1 remains 2, 5, 7, 11, 14, 15. 155 cm. Is that your answer? Yeah? Yes. 155 centimeters. Now next question. Find the area of the shaded part. Now find the area of the shaded part. Hurry up. හිතන්න method එක. Find the area of the shaded part. Shaded part එක area හොයන්න මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ පුතේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ? Find the area of the whole portion, then subtract the area of the sector from it. මාරලේසිනි වැඩි. Triangular portion and the rectangular portion, subtract the add to the both things together, right? You have to find the sum of the area of the triangles and the rectangle. They subtract the area of a sector from it. That's easy. Now find the answer. කණිම හදමු. දිනුක් කලින් එක තේරුණානේ perimeter? Okay. Now what is the answer? Find the area of the shaded part. If you have to find the sum of the triangular and the rectangular portion, then subtract the area of the sector part. Make a line කරන්න හරිනේ. shaded part එක එනවා. නියමයි. ඒ බලමු. එකපාරටම හදාගෙන යන් වැඩි. Triangular portion. Half into the base becomes 5 and the perpendicular height is a 12. මේ part එක හරි on triangular portion plus rectangular portion 40 into 35. And subtract 5r squared 2207 r squared ඒකේ තේරුම මොකද්ද 35 into 35 5r squared into the 1 over 4 and this is the sector part. අපි දැන් හදමු මේක 2 times 1 and 2 times 6 2 times 1 and 2 times 6 and 7 times 1 and 7 times 5 and 2 times 11 2 times 2 ඔච්චරයි simplify කරන්නේ අපි දැන් හදමු 6 times 5 30 plus 40 times 35 it becomes as 35 times 4 becomes as 140 1400 minus 11 times 5 becomes as 55 and 55 multiply by the 35 then divide by 2 here's a 1435 subtract අපි දැන් මේක හදාගමු පුතේ look at this 35 multiplied by the 55 5 times 5 25 2 remainders 15 and 17 again same one 5 12 1 and 9 and 1 now you can divide by 2 අපි දැන් බෙදමු දෙකට 1 is not divided by 2 19 divided by 2 becomes as a 9 18 1 remainders 12 becomes as a 6 and 5 divided by 2 becomes 2 and 1 remainder and this is the answer. Now final one we have to subtract 1 මේක අපි subtract කරමු 1435.0 and 962.5. Now you can subtract. Here's a 10 and here's a 4. Now 5, 2 and this one becomes 13 and this one becomes 13 and 0 and 7 and here's a 4. Then answer becomes 472.5 cm squared. මෙන්න පුතේ area එක. And Benori Januk පුතාලා තේරුණාද මේක? එහෙමයි. උත්තරේ ගත්තද? ඔව්. Okay. Wow. Yes, no. Look at this. Look at this. මෙතන වැරද්දක් වුණා නේ. Here's a 35. Here's a 30 no. මේ දෙක ඇඩ් වුණාම 35 නෙමෙයිනේ. 1430යි නේ. Here's a 1430. Here's a 1430. Listen. it's 1430. ඔතන මේකෙන් පහක් අඩු කරුවා අපි. එතකොට උත්තරය 467. උත්තරය 467.5. මේ දෙක ගැටුවම 1435 නෙමෙයි 30. It's easy. Now you got it? Memory. හරි නේද? එහෙමයි. Now okay. Right. Good. I'm going to next part, and next part becomes as a pie charts. Right. try කරමු තනියෙන් පුතේ පළවෙනිකට. හරියක්. pie charts අපි කළා data representation වලදී. බලමු වැඩි. Today select students from the Students Parliament 219, and 5 students of grade 9A participated from an election. The following pie charts represent about the number of votes obtained by them from the own class. If the number of votes obtained by Niwasa and Dhananjaya are equal, and find the angle of the sector belongs to Niwasa, and the Niwasa and Dhananjaya equals. මේ බලන්න වැඩි. මගේ නමත් දාලා දැම්ම. මෙන්න වැඩි. අන්න නිසල් ඉන්නවා and Dhananjaya ඉන්නවා. මේ දෙන්නගෙම equal angles තියෙන්න ඕනේ. වැඩේ කොට කොහොමද එන්න ඕනේ? Now we can find the angle. එහෙනම් angle එක හොයන්න පුළුවන් නේද? එහෙනම් උත්තරයක් එනවා first one එකටම. You have to add all, then subtract from the 360 and divide by 2. එන්න බලමු වැඩේ. 117 plus 45, then divide by 2. Then divide by 2. 360 degrees minus 5, 7, 12, 1 remains 2, 6, 162 divide by 2.
Sir, 98 කරන්න.
Right, there are 100, yes, here's 90. There are 3 angles now. You have to add all and divide by 2. Now answer becomes 252. Sum of these angles 252. Yes? Right? 1, 2, 3. You have to add these 3 angles and divide by 2. Now answer becomes 360 minus 252. Now we have to subtract. It becomes 8. And this one becomes as a 0. And this one becomes as a 1. Now you can divide by 2. It becomes as a 54 degrees. So අපෙන් අහුව question එක තමයි find the angles of the accelerator result. Right. එහෙනම් වැඩේ ගොඩ. හරි නේද? Right, very good. බැරි උත්තරය යවන්නේ දුව. Right, well done. And next one. Right, අපි කළා මේ වගේ වනේ. Missing angles එව්වා. Right. Next one. Second question. If the number of votes obtained by assailer is 5, find the total number of students. මේ බලන්න වැඩි. Assail को assail हमें assail 5. මෙයා 5. දැන් මේවා angles දන්නවා. 54 අපිට ආවේ. 54 degrees. මේ අච්චරට මෙච්චර නම් මෙච්චරට කොච්චරද? වට්ටදේශී වැඩේ නේද? Look at this. Second question. හොයමු බලන්න තනියම. තනියම හොයමු. හැමෝම.
Done, sir.
Done. What is the answer?
My 40 students.
40 students. Right. බලමු check කරමු. 40 students. මේක හදන්න පුළුවන් ලේසි ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවා. ඇයි? This was relevant to the direct proportions. 45 degrees represent 5 students. ලේසිම ලේසිනේ වැඩි. Therefore 360 degrees represent total students. ඕකනේ කතාව. අනේ අම්මි. මේ බලන්න වැඩි. 45 becomes as 360 multiplied by the 8. අපි දන්නවනේ 45 double වුණාම 90 94ක් වුණාට පස්සේ 360. Therefore 45 times 8 becomes as 360. Then 5 multiplied by 8, then answer is 40 students. 40 students. නේමයි. තේරුණානේ? නැත්තම් මේකේ දාන්න පුළුවන් අපිට ratio use කරන්න පුළුවන්, unitary method use කරන්න පුළුවන්. මම ගොඩක් methods කතා කරා. There are 3 methods. I will already discuss about this lesson. Right. මෙන්න වැඩි. Third question. Find the number of the votes obtained by the students who selected for the students' parliaments. Find the number of votes obtained by the student who selected for the students in parliaments. ඒ කියන්නේ කවුද? වැඩිම ගත්තු එක්කෙනානේ නයින්න ඕනේ. Just because I think Aravind. අරවින්ද ගත්තු වෝට්ස් ගන්න තමයි අහන්නේ ඔය. There are so many methods to find the answer. බලන්න ඔයගොල්ලෝ කැමති method එකකින් හදන්න පුළුවන්. What is the answer? Answer එක දාමු පුතේ. Right. බලමු අපි answer එක. Now look at this. And we know the 45 students becomes as a 5. 45 degrees represent 5 students. ඒක අපි දන්නවනේ. මේ බලන්න වැඩි. 45 degrees represent 5 students. Therefore, 117 degrees represent how many students? අපි දන්නේ නැහැ. Cross multiplication. උත්තරයක් එනවා 45y equals 5 times 117 and also divide by the 45. ඕකනේ වෙන්න ඕනේ. Now finally y becomes 5 times 1 and 5 times 9, and you know 170 we can divide by the 9. How is it identified? Because 117, the sum of the all digit becomes 9. 9 times වල තියෙන මාර ලස්සන දෙයක් නේ එක. මේ 1 plus 1 plus 9, 7 is 9. 7 plus 1 is 8, 8 and 1 is 9. Now 11 divided by 9 is a 1, and the 2 remainders, 27 becomes as a 3. Therefore 13 students was 13. Let's see. අච්චර මෙච්චර නම් මෙච්චරට කොච්චරද? 45ට 5යි 114ට කීයද? 45 degrees represent 5 students, 107 degrees represent how many students? Now, this is a fourth one. Now try it. මෙරොඩි කොහොම තත්ත්වේ? එව්වද?
No, sir.
No. Right. And අපේ ජිනුක් any ideas? No?
No, sir.
No. Reason? What's the reason? ඒ කියන්නේ question එක තේරුම් ගන්න බැරුව ගියාද? I think that's the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, හරි. බලමු. අපි දැන් හොයාගත්ත මොකද්ද? This was 170 because Aravind 13. 13 students. 13 students. Maybe. Right. බලමු වැඩි. Right. And total students are 50 students. හරි. බලමු question එක කියවලා මොකද්ද මේ කියන්නේ කියලා. try එකක් දෙමු ඊට පස්සේ. In the 2020, Asela resigned the school and 6 new students were admitted to this class. උතර අරවින්ද අසේල නේද? අසේල යනවා. 6 දෙනෙක් එනවා. උතර ඇතුළට කී දෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලාද? 5යි. ඒක තේරෙනවද? මෙරොඩි තේරෙනවද ඒක පුතේ? There are totally 40 students and Aravind ගියා. Therefore 40 minus 1 and new 60 students came. Now answer becomes, now in the class 45 students. Whoa. ළමයි 45 දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Therefore, 45 students now represent 360 degrees. Total, no? Right? Now we have a new relationship. Right? The previous one, 40 students represent 360 degrees. Now in this case, 45 students represent 360 degrees. Therefore, every one student, අපි හොයාගමු එක student කෙනෙක් represent 360 divided by 45 and එක ළමයෙක් represent කරනවා 8 degrees. Degrees 8. Right. Just now. The remaining 4 students කියන්නේ කවුද? අයින් වුණේ කවුද? අසේල. එහෙනම් ඉතුරු වුණේ කවුද? කෝසල, අරවින්ද, නිසල්, ධනංජය. මේ 4 දෙනා ඉතුරුයි. Right. දැන් ජිනුක් හැදුවා උත්තරේනේ. දැන් තේරුණා. Now okay. ඒකනේ පොඩි තල්ලුවක් දෙන්න ඕනේ නේ start වෙන්න. Right? Right. Now okay. Right. වෙන්න වැඩි. බිනුරත් දැන් තේරුණාද වැඩි? බලමු අපි හදලා බලමු. 2019 right. Came forward in 2020 and Aravinda, Nisal, Dhananjaya obtained the same number of votes. ඒගොල්ලෝ හැමෝම සමානව තමයි අරගත්තේ. හරි. සමානව ගත්තේ. ඒක හරි. ඊට පස්සේ අපිට කියනවා find the angle of the sector relevant to the number of votes obtained by කෝසල. කෝසලයා ගත්තු දැන් angle එක වෙනස් වෙනවානේ. වෙනස් වෙනවා. කලින් ගත්තේ කී දෙනයිද එයා? 40 students, therefore කලින් ගත්තේ 10 students. එයා 10 students ගත්තා. එහෙනම් 10 plus 5 becomes 18, 21, 31. හරි නේද? 23, 28. හරිනේ? 13 plus 10 becomes as a 23. 23 plus 5 is a 28. Subtract from the 40 becomes 12. එහෙනම් මේක 6 තමයි යන්නේ. Right. වැඩේ හරිනේ. ඔය තමයි යන්නේ. ඉතින් ලේසි වැඩේ. 13 plus 6 19, 19 6 is a 25 and 28 38. හරි නේද? 13 19 25 30 40. කොහොම තමයි තිබුණේ. 40. උතන මේ හැමෝම එකයි නම් හරිද? මේ හැමෝම එකයි නම් හරිද? 30. Now we have to find the answer for the කෝසල. කෝසලට හම්බෙච්ච ගාන තමයි යහන්නේ. Right? Now this is the way. Right. And how to find the answer? Did you කවුද හැදුවේ උත්තරේ? දාලා තිබ්බා උත්තරේ
අරවින්දයි නිසලුයි ධනංජයයි එකතු කරලා 45 ඊට පස්සේ ඒ එතකොට උත්තරයක් වෙනවා 20 කියලා 20 මේ 8ෙන් ගුණ කරනවා.
And right, because we did all the one students becomes as 8 degrees. Now Aravinda, Nisal, Dhananjaya same. එහෙනම් අපි දන්නවා 13 plus 6 plus 6. ඒ උත්තරේ ගත්තට පස්සේ අපිට දැන් එනවා උත්තරය 13 and 25. Therefore 25 subtract from the 45. Now 45 students. Then 20 students votes becomes as a causal now. 20. දැන් 20ක් ඇවිල්ලා. එහෙනම් 20ක් ඇවිල්ලා කියලා කියන්නේ 20 students multiply by 8 degrees. Now answer becomes 160 degrees. Yeah. Better තේරුණාද දුව? Yeah. Now okay. Right. And this is the third question. Therefore, now we are going to the next part in the next week, right? So next week එක හැදෙන්නේ පුතේ 12th of this April. එදාට නිවාඩු, right? එදා නිවාඩු. අපි එදාට කලින් අපි කරනවා එතකොට පේප් ක්ලාස් එක තියෙනවා Monday. ඒක තියෙනවා සුපුරුදු විදියට. ඉතින් අපි ඩිස්කස් කරමු මේක ඉතුරු ටික. එහෙනම් ඊළඟ දවසේ හැමෝටම හොඳින් ඉන්න, සතුටින් ඉන්න. එහෙනම් අවුරුදු 4 සමරන්න. ජය වේවා.
Ayubowan, sir. Thank you, sir.
Ayubowan, Putri, Ayubowan. Right. God bless you.